My book was The Contender. It was written and published in 1967 by Robert Lipsey. He was a journalist who primarily covered boxing matches. And to give an example of the story, one of my favorite parts is before one match, Robert met an old boxing manager for dinner. This manager told him of stories from his career from boxers he managed during that time of his life. Robert got inspired from the story from the boxer. The manager told him about an old gym he owned. He told him he often slept at the top of the stairs with a German Shepherd and a gun with one ear open. And he listened to someone who was scared but willing to conquer his fears to become somebody, a fighter, a contender. The main character's name is Alfred Brooks. Alfred is a black teenager living in New York. His mother died when he was young and his father left early on, so he lived with his aunt and cousins. Alfred always dreamed of growing up and becoming an adult. He already was the most responsible of his friends, most of which were gang affiliated. To summarize the book, though, is Alfred gets jumped by a few of his friends because they were caught breaking into the store Alfred worked at. After this occurrence, a man that lived in the neighborhood helped him home, helped him get back in his house. And he mentioned that he went to a boxing gym with a great manager and invited him to go. Alfred goes to the gym with the mindset that he wants to be great, he wants to be the best, he wants to be a champion. Alfred put in a lot of hours of training. In the book, he's always training. He changed his diet, went for runs, and put in countless hours at the gym. After putting in all that time, he had not boxed a single match. He was let down and quit for a while, getting into drugs and alcohol to take care of his pain and problems. Eventually, he goes back to the gym and gets his stuff and asks the manager if he could have been a contender. This is only the beginning of the amazing story. The rest of the story goes into a lot of detail about the mindset and the will, what it takes to be a champion, and it's amazing. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. It really inspired me to be not only a better person, a better football player, a better rugby player, but to just have that mindset to want to be great. And myself, I don't really like reading books, but I really enjoyed this one. And after I started reading, I just couldn't let it down. I had to read one more chapter. It's an amazing story. And I think the author Robert Lipsey hit it right on the money. And I recommend reading it 100%. If you love sports, obviously if you do taking this class, I would 100% read this. And it'll change your life. It'll make you a better person and just give you better character, which I think everyone in the world should work on. So in conclusion, this book was amazing, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. And if you're looking to read an amazing book for your next book, I recommend reading this. It gets you jumped and ready for the next chapter. It gets slow a little bit, but then it catches right back up and you're ready to read some more.